The Ellis Island Passenger Search Database is a free resource for finding about 65 million immigrants and other passengers who arrived in the Port of New York between 1820 and 1957. Were your ancestors among them? Search for their names at the Ellis Island website. Join me on this quick tour. First, let's talk about who you'll be searching for on the website. Incoming passengers for the Port of New York beginning in 1820. Arrivals at the Castle Garden Immigration Processing Center beginning in 1855. Beginning in 1892, you have both arrivals via the Ellis Island Immigration Station, who were the third class or steerage passengers, as well as the first and second class passengers who got to bypass Ellis Island and disembark at the piers. And after Ellis Island closed in 1924, there are still Port of New York arrivals through 1957, and we add New York City airline arrivals beginning in the 1930s. Now, what kind of records might you find? Passenger manifests, which were one page until 1907 and then went to 2 pages long. For a period of about half century or so, you'll be looking at customs lists instead of passenger manifests because those original manifests were destroyed in a fire. There are also some detention records for those who were held for further inspection or inquiry, and if you're lucky, once you've located your relative's passenger list, you may also be able to view an image or additional information about the ship they traveled on. Let's go to the website. I'm here at statueofliberty.org, and I've gone to the Ellis Island landing page, as you can see here. And one of the reasons I want to show you this page is because under this Discover tab, I highly recommend you go to the genealogy tips page real quick and download their quick tips and tricks guide to help you understand and interpret the records that you'll find on this website. It's really excellent. But we're going to focus right now on search passenger and ship records. And once we get to this landing page, we'll go to Start Your Search. All right, let's take a look at the passenger search page here. Here we have the name area, and I'm going to enter information for Sara Santos, who I would like to look for here, and a couple of notes about name spellings. You're going to want to enter as best you can guess the name spelling as it would have been before they arrived in the United States, before it may have been quote and unquote Americanized. You might also understand that there might be several possible spellings for a person's name, and it might take you a while to find one that you recognize. Spelling wasn't that standard in times past, and because of the language and other barriers, there might be different spellings as well. Now, I want to show you these 2 sets of options here, which will open for you on a one-page form if you like, but I'm going to show them to you right here. You can choose these several different filter options, and I know some of them look mutually exclusive, but you can go ahead and choose them all if you want to, and I'll show you why in just a minute. This will give you the ability to filter down to different search results. And then if you open the wizard, you will also see options to add more parameters if you know more about someone or want to narrow down, use these sliders to narrow down a person's year of birth or anything else that you know about them that's shown here, including where they might have come from or what ship that they may have traveled on if that information has been something you've already come across. Once you've entered everything you want to, go ahead and go back up to Results and click through to look at those. When I scroll down here a little bit, I'll show you that you can reopen the wizard or the one-page form if you want to filter down any further or you want to change your search parameters. You can also, once you start looking through your search options, you may decide that you want to sort them by first or last name or in ascending or descending alphabetical order. The filters that I mentioned earlier now become a lot more apparent here, how helpful they can be. I can choose any of these to look at and it will change the search results list that I'm looking at in front of me. And look how many more matches I have for a sounds like. They're trying to approximate what the last name might have sounded like if it was written a little bit differently. but I'm going to go back to contains because I'm fairly confident that Sara Santos is the spelling that I'm looking for, at least part of the name that I'm looking for. As I roll down here, I'll see that I have columns for the name, the year of arrival, the place that they would have lived or been born, and whether they arrived, what ship they arrived on. And here you can see that the airline is indicated instead for a couple of later records. And then here you see two icons, one for a transcription of the passenger record and another for the record image itself. And sometimes when you're lucky, you'll see a third one here for the ship, which you could click to see more about the ship they traveled on. If you go over here and roll over the I icon, it will open a quick summary of information about that person. So you don't have to click through every single one of them to see if they're the person you're looking for. When I roll down here, I find the person I'm looking for. Unfortunately, this doesn't let me click on her name. In order to get into her record, I'm going to have to open one of these two, which essentially lead to the same place. So that's not a problem. When I get down here under passenger record, I do want to notice the transcription has the line number so that when I look at the ship manifest image, I can quickly go to the line number I want. Now I could roll down here to purchase a nice certificate showing the information, but I don't feel a need to do that. So I'm going to go right here to the ship manifest page, which is what I'm most interested in seeing. Now they're going to offer me the ability to buy copies of those images. I don't really need to do that because I'm going to roll down here and look at them. To look at them, this can get a little disconcerting because it rolls with you as you move your mouse. You can roll around here and look at the top of the page, the various columns, and then go down to, of course, line 11, which is what we were interested in here for Sara Santos. Now, if I wanted to look at the whole page at once without having to roll over it, I can click on full image and I'll see a static image of that page. I can also click here to see other pages associated with this particular manifest. It's very possible that she traveled with other people and I'm interested in seeing that. So if I go down here, I'll see a transcription of all the other people who appear on this manifest as well. Going back up here, I could look to see if any annotations have been made to her record. And if I look at the text passenger list, that's just another copy of what I've already seen before, of that transcribed list of all the names and an image to look at those. There's a lot more to explore here on this website. I do recommend checking out the oral histories, particularly if you're interested in the immigrant experience. But what I've shown you so far will definitely get you started. I'm Sunny Morton with Family Tree Magazine. Thanks for watching.